Hi, welcome back. Today I have what I'm hoping is going to be a quick review. Fun fact, this is my second time filming this review today because I went to edit and noticed that whatever brow product I used this morning somehow oxidized and I had foxfire red eyebrows. I could not make it through editing and feel comfortable publishing that video. I'm hoping I have corrected it. Who knows? I can't really tell with my viewfinder because I don't look in it often and it's really far back. So the upside is that I am filming this review with a 6-hour wear. I put this on actually almost 7 hours ago, and I have done 0 touch-ups. So the product we're talking about today is the L'Oreal Age Perfect 4-in-1 Tinted Balm with infusing firming serum. I have been seeing you all ask me to try this. I finally had to order it online because I could not find it in any of my local stores, but I did finally pick it up. And I've been seeing some people compare this to the Jones Road What the Foundation, so I want to address that. A lot of people have been saying, well, I won't say a lot. A few people have said, if you didn't like the Jones Road, give this a shot. And honestly, I just feel like the formulas are totally different, but we'll talk about that later. What I want to start out with is the shade, of course, that I got. I got the shade Light number 10. It is a little dark on me. I won't say it's dark. It's just a transitional shade, like an in-between shade. I wanted something that would carry me into the summertime, and I think this is perfect. If you feel like you are normally my winter shade, I probably would go down a color. It appears there are 11 shades. Each website was different, but it looked like with the official swatches, there were 11, 4 shades in the light category, 3 in the medium, and 4 in the deep. Personally, I feel like they could have added one more lighter shade and one more deepest shade. I feel like a lot of people are going to look at that lightest tier and be like, that possibly could be a little too dark for me. Same thing goes for the deepest. I feel like they could have done something that was a little bit richer and a little bit deeper. So let's talk about formula. This is a jar style foundation, as we can tell, and it is a tinted balm. So we're looking at the no makeup lovers, the sheer makeup lovers out there. This is going to be for you. Do not get this confused with a tinted moisturizer or a foundation. It is a very sheer light coverage. It's exactly what the name says. It's a tinted balm. So my first time using this, I noticed you kind of had to break the seal on this to get to the real product. So make sure when you are using this just to press down, and you will kind of like break a top layer and you'll get into that really creamy formula. Otherwise, you don't get much payoff with that first like top layer, if that makes sense. So I can truly say this formula is unlike any that I've ever tried at the drugstore, possibly even high end. Very unique formula happening here. It is very thin, it is really creamy, and it is very satisfying to apply. So you're gonna notice when you apply it, it just glides onto the skin. I just find this to be the most luxurious feeling product when I apply it. I think it just feels so, I don't know, it just feels so smooth when you apply it, and not in like a satin way, not in like a dewy way. It just feels like this perfect texture going on your skin. Now for me, if we're comparing this to the Jones Road, I find that it has less coverage and it is not anywhere close to the dew factor that Jones Road has. What I love about the Age Perfect line, and I think L'Oreal masters this well within this line, is that they do a formula in most of their complexion products that is not too dewy and also not too matte, so it can fit multiple skin types. That's what I found with this. This is a very much just lit from within youthful look. As you can see, I have a little bit of glow happening on my cheeks. Honestly, I think that's from my cream blush and bronzer more than this product. This goes on as, again, hard to describe. It's not satin, it is not dewy, and it's not matte. So I don't really know how to describe this. It's just super natural when it goes off, doesn't give a ton of glow, but also is not a flat matte. It just gives you a little something. You just look hydrated, like you're not parched anymore. Coverage, sheer to light, like I mentioned. You are not getting anything past a light coverage, and I dare to even say that this is light coverage. I mean, it is pretty sheer. Like, even for me, when I first was applying this, I was like, okay, this is really lightweight. And I want to talk about the difference in flexibility and buildability. So this is a very flexible foundation in the sense that you can reapply it and it still looks like perfection. No matter how many layers you put on, it still looks nice and healthy. However, it is not buildable. This is a foundation that I find no matter how much I put on, I don't get more coverage. So you're going to be limited to that just light coverage finish. Again, to be expected with something that's called a tinted balm. I just think people get wrapped up in their thoughts and think products like this, even though they clearly say like on the packaging what to expect, that you're gonna get more coverage. This, I just don't want there to be any misconceptions. She's very light coverage. So if you have mature skin and you're worried about a product going into your fine lines and wrinkles, this is one that I feel like I could confidently say will not do that. Like, it just has such a beautiful, flexible finish that I have not found it to enhance my smile lines, my under eye area, nothing. Like, it just looks good, like good, natural, healthy skin. Same thing with dry patches. I have not found it to cling to any dry areas on my face. So let's transition into application. For the past 5 days, I've been using my hands and a brush. So I thought I would hate a brush with a product like this, but turns out they actually look very similar in my opinion. I did a side-by-side comparison so you could see one side with a brush, one side with my hands, and there's not that big of a difference. I will say primarily I've been using my hands because I just think it feels luxurious when I use my hands, and I think it helps to melt down the product a little bit more. But if you are a brush person, go off. I think it will still look totally fine. Now, let's get into longevity since I am a talking example of the longevity right now. This is not a product that has a high longevity simply because it does not have the pigment to help out with that longevity, to extend that longevity. And I don't really expect that from products like this, from my tinted moisturizers, from my tinted balms. I really just want them to fade gracefully throughout the day. And let me tell you, this girl, she takes the most graceful exit on your face that I've probably ever seen in a foundation. I mean, it definitely wears off by the end of the day, but in a way that is just totally undetectable. I put this on the first day wearing it, and I went to the grocery store, played with my son outside, came back in like 4 hours later, and honestly, it just like looked like my skin had been moisturized, but I didn't really see a ton of coverage happening. And again, that day I didn't set it with anything. I wore it completely bare, so there was nothing to kind of help it out. I find that if I do set my T-zone, add a little bit of blush bronzer, it does help it out throughout the day. But if you are someone that expects perfection in your makeup by the end of the day and you want it to look like it did when you applied it that morning, probably not the product for you, but you're probably not reaching for products like this. I feel like people who tend to go for that style are the full coverage, heavy longevity hard hitters, you know what I mean? So yeah, this is 6, almost 7 hours in, and I think it looks so pretty. For summertime, this is just going to be such a pretty foundation that's just going to fade with you naturally throughout the day. So who is this tinted balm for, you ask? Well, I think the primary category is going to be mature, dry, dehydrated, and normal skin. I think you are going to find that it is fantastic, that it feels and looks great on your skin, and you will have minimal issues. Combination skin, I feel like probably the same thing. You may just have to set a couple more times throughout the day, possible maybe Target reapplication. Where I want to put a cautionary tale out there, or a cautionary clause, I guess I should say, is probably the oily skin family. And also if you struggle with hyperpigmentation, rosacea, redness, anything like that that you generally want covered, this is definitely not going to do that. It's going to give you an overall universal kind of finished look or a polished look, but it's not going to give you any corrective properties. So if you correct your dark circles, if you have redness that you cover, you are going to have to go in with a secondary product to help you achieve that. Oily skin, I worry that oils could break down this product pretty quickly. Since there is very little pigment in it, you're only already, I hate to use the term hanging on by a thread because I think this foundation, spoiler alert, is awesome. So I don't want to minimize it by saying hanging on by a thread, but you get what I'm saying. You know, if you struggle with oily skin, you know that oils break down products. So just cautionary, just letting you know there. I think those two categories might have to be a little bit more wary. Final thoughts. I think it's fabulous. Honestly, it's probably one of my favorite drugstore foundations that has launched in a long time. I actually picked up a new Neutrogena Hydro Boost Skin Tint the other day with this. And, well, not with this. I bought that in store. But I literally like ordered this and got the Neutrogena on the same day. And I haven't used my Neutrogena yet because I have been using the Loreal so much. So beautiful, natural, flexible finish. Perfect for natural, no makeup people. And yeah, if you have fine lines, if you have areas of concern where you're afraid, you know, a lot of things like slip into those areas, I just feel like this is not going to do that. It looks so good. It's very much La Mer vibes, you know what I mean? Like fresh, woke up like this, like almost rich lady vibes, you know? And I think L'Oreal does a good job with that. Their formulas tend to feel and look more high end than what the price point reflects. And this is no exception. Phenomenal. I think you should try it personally. And if you have and you like it, if you have and you didn't, let me know what you didn't like about it, because I'm finding it very hard to find anything that I don't like about this. So yeah, that's the review. I hope you enjoyed. I hope I touched on all the topics. This is a refilm, so I could have forgotten something, but if I did, or if you have another question, leave it down below as usual. And I want to know when you try this, what your thoughts are, if you like it as much as I do. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.